please.
Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man?
Shaft!
Can you dig it?
You might as well just slept here because you were here Friday. You were here yesterday. Thank you for doing that.
I have to correct you slightly.
What's that, Chris?
Annie Fry was here Friday.
Oh, she was. Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
so
I was out of town.
I'm Thursday and Friday.
Okay, all right. Well, I appreciate you being in yesterday.
I always appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely, yeah.
Me and Katie Bailey held the fort down.
I heard you did a great job. I was listening from my 971 app that you can get on your phone, or also that Next Radio app you can listen on. So the 971 app is great, though. Had no problem picking you up. And
Good.
Although I do have to complain a little bit about some of the music we play on that 97.1 app. If you're listening on the app, we don't carry all the commercials on the app, so they have to put filler music in there. And I can't swear to this, but I'm pretty sure I heard some Madonna.
Oh, no.
There can be no Madonna played during the Marc Cox Show, just so you know that, just for future reference. I know Liz doesn't program that, but we're going to have to talk to Annie or whoever's responsible for that, because that is not acceptable.
Come on, I can hear welcome back to the Marc Cox Show, like a virgin. Ooh.
I'm pretty sure it was a Madonna song. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Heads will roll once the investigation has been completed.
That's right. So, Chris, you said you heard my soapbox there a few minutes ago. I am sick as I can be of this anti NRA drumbeat. They've got every kid they can find from Parkland. They're trying to recruit local kids at local high schools who think they're 17-year-old left-wing activists who are going to go to march on Washington, and they're going to make our legislators finally understand that evil NRA has to go away.
Well, they've been trying to take away our guns for the last 25 years since Columbine. And every time we've had a major mass shooting like this, it hasn't moved the needle that much. People are concerned, of course, but when you talk about what are you going to do about it, take my gun away, people are against that. Yeah. So I think they have found, they think this is the tactic.
This is the issue.
This is the one that's going to finally change the public's mind.
It's a straw man. It's not the NRA's fault. That people in this country have a right to keep and bear arms. That's not the National Rifle Association's fault. The National Rifle Association hasn't bought any of those weapons, none of that. But what it gets down to is that every single time we want to change in the law, even in this case, there's no proof that anything they want to do would have changed this madman from figuring out a way to shoot those kids.
Yeah.
There's no way. So he happened to be 18 and bought a gun. But the shooter in Texas at the church was in his mid-20s, had served in the military. A lot of these kids are older, or they stole the weapons, or whatever the case may be. So saying now, if it makes you feel better to say, okay, 18-year-olds can't buy long guns anymore. Well, that doesn't mean that they're not going to have them.
Yeah. And what they don't understand, and I said this yesterday, they act like the NRA is this organization that's flush with all this cash that comes from some mysterious source, and they are manipulating legislators and congressmen to do their bidding. And what they don't understand is that money that the NRA gets comes from you, comes from me, and the millions of other NAR members out there that support the NRA to protect our gun rights. They don't understand that. You're not fighting against the NRA.
They understand it, but
they're
angered by the fact that many people have gotten together as a group and provided a good defense of their rights, and they can't seem to get through. They say they want to blame their losses at the ballot box on the fact that some particular candidate got some money from the NRA. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
And because we have a constitution and this is America, you can get rid of the NRA tomorrow, and you'll have another group similar to that tomorrow.
Yeah,
an NRA. No,
I agree.
You're not going to get rid of that.
Later today, I've invited somebody from the Gun Owners of America on here. Now, GOA is an organization that's not quite as big as the NRA member-wise, but they're very vocal and they're supportive of the Second Amendment. Yeah. And I wanted to get somebody on here. The NRA is keeping a low profile on this one.
I don't blame them.
They're such a target right now, but these leftists... Remember after the shooting in Las Vegas, they didn't say anything for a long time. Mm-hmm. Then they issued a statement that they would support some regulation of these bump stocks. Yeah. But that's another example. After the fact, They've decided, well, if that guy hadn't had a bump stock, let's ban bump stocks.
Right.
Now they're mad that bump stocks haven't been banned yet, but bump stocks weren't used in this particular case. It was a different maniac who committed a crime.
Yeah. They have to be very careful because the left is going to exploit these high school kids, and the NRA and the president both have to be very careful about what they say. The last few days, Donald Trump, the president, has been getting a lot of criticism because he was quiet. Why is the president so quiet about this, the NRA, the shootings? Why isn't he going out? Well, because he knows that he wants you. That they want to bait him, basically, to say something stupid, and then it's like, oh, he's against kids. He's so insensitive. That's why he was quiet.
Yeah.
Smart politics.
Love the headline that I saw in one of the Post articles this morning that Trump would. Here it is. Trump offers support for background checks on guns. There are already background checks on guns. That's what I don't get. Everything that gets thrown out there is something that's already being done. If the laws on the books are enforced, you limit the ability of these things to happen. And if there are going to be changes, the changes need to be tightening up our systems so that we have school security and we have, this kid had ADHD and depression and a variety of different mental issues. Apparently DCFS and some others knew about that. Nothing was done.
We talked about this a little on the show with Jim Talent. And there are laws that are being proposed around the country called red flag laws. And apparently there's one here in Missouri that's under consideration that you can temporarily commit someone if they have been showing signs of mental distress. That's one of the things that people are saying to try to remedy this. But the bad thing about it is federal law says if you were ever committed involuntarily to a mental institution, you can never own a firearm again.
Somebody's losing their rights before this is all over with. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be?
Probably.
And and ultimately, and the left really gets mad when I bring this up, but who decides?
Yeah.
If we put together a group of people and we decide that Chris Arps may be mentally unstable, and this group of 10 people here in Missouri have to look at your case and decide, because let's say, for example, you were in the military and you had PTSD 15 years ago. Well, is PTSD post 15 years not a threat anymore? But if it's less than 15 years, maybe we shouldn't let you have a gun. I mean, who decides what those gray areas are?
But can we agree, though, that the real way that you're going to solve this problem is you have to keep these guns out of crazy people's hands, and you got to figure out a mechanism to do that without taking people's rights.
Where's the line, right? Somebody's got to decide where the line is. If you've done X, Y, and Z on this checklist, you can no longer go buy a gun. Who decides what X, Y, and Z is? These are serious questions, and they're things that need to be addressed, which are much more likely to prevent one of these future tragedies than any of these ridiculous knee-jerk gun laws that they're coming up with. Let me get to a break real quick, Chris. 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. Still got a couple of Monster Jam tickets to give away today. We'll do that a little later in the show, probably in the next hour, and we'll get back to some of your phone calls right after this.
This is the Marc Cox Show. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
Periods of rain and a couple kind of hit and miss thunderstorms. 72 for the high. Tonight, periods of rain. It's colder. 30